Welcome to episode 3 of April Anger. Our first match is going to be Baytwotta against Zelda. Now, you may have noticed that Baytwotta's amiibo name is spelled differently. It's Baytwotta? So, the reason for that is we have two Baytwotta amiibos in this tournament. Two of them were printed, and we finally have both of them this year. The second Baytwotta amiibo needed a name, and I wanted to call him Bayonettu because that would be very punny. However, when you spell it out, it just comes out as Bay12. So we have Baytwotta. It's like we're on Pokemon Stadium. Zelda getting an early kill with a lightning kick. Zelda's forward and backward aerials, if you land the sweet spot of them, you get a very powerful move with a little lightning effect added to it. And it's strong. It's a little harder to hit than these amiibo are making it seem like. Zelda comboing it up air. Zelda's actually starting to really run away with this match. Zelda does have a lot of very strong aerials, and Bayonettu seems to be jumping a lot. Yep, right into the path of that up air. Zelda's up air is an explosion. Don't recommend getting hit by those. Baytwotta has really had a hard time getting any combos started. She got Zelda off stage there, but she wasn't even able to edge guard or set up some sort of ledge trap, so she just sort of watched as Zelda recovered. One thing that the Bayonetta amiibo does have a hard time with is actually, well, to be honest, a couple of things, but one of them is actually killing. Right there, Bayonetta should have used the third forward air, like that. Bayonetta has 3 forward airs, their combo sequence, so you get one after another. And if you don't do the third one, it's a lot more risky because the opponent can just hit you for that. Bayonetta, a stock behind, but already at a high percentage. Using a couple of smash attacks and getting hit by an explosion. Going to be a quick match, a commanding lead from Zelda. Up next, we have Fox against Rosalina. Looks like we're going to be on Battlefield for this one. Fox making sure to get some extra damage in on Luma. That is a viable strategy when you're going against a Rosalina. Luma is not invincible or covered by Rosalina's shield, so basically he's just incredibly vulnerable a lot of the time, and if you can get rid of Luma, you will have an easier time just fighting plain old Rosalina. Oh good, Fox makes that back. Something to note though is that usually when a Rosalina loses their Luma, they'll just sort of run away until Luma comes back. It is a little annoying, especially because Rosalina is a character who's easily capable of just running away like that. Sort of a easy way to completely counteract the main weakness of the character. Rosalina gets the first kill with an up smash and no damage on the board to show for it. She did lose her Luma, but she seems to be doing pretty fine without it. Granted, she probably wouldn't have gotten hit there, but all in all, after losing one of your most important assets, eating one tilt attack is not much of a punishment at all. Rosalina not using Luma to hit Fox there. Fox was probably, well, very vulnerable, or at least within Luma's punching range, and Rosalina did not seem to offer that. Usually the Rosalina amiibo prefers to keep Luma nearby, which, in all fairness, is usually the more optimal position to keep Luma. But it might be possible that the Rosalina amiibo AI doesn't exactly know how to use a positioned Luma. Which is a shame, because Luma in the correct position can actually be incredibly powerful. Especially because he has effectively half of the KO power for all of Rosalina's moves. Fox gets sent out far. His recovery, it doesn't matter if it was going to make it or not. Rosalina edgeguarded him. Rosalina getting the straight up recovery on the up special, that can be a little bit harder than you think to get. Especially if you try to B reverse it and then it feels almost impossible. At least from a human perspective. I don't know how the AI deals with it, but I've seen many Rosalina player get the angles wrong and die for it. Rosalina suddenly seeming incredibly competent. She's already been winning for a lot of this match, but she seems to have suddenly understood how to play the game in the last 2 minutes, which has got to be scary for her opponent. Although I guess the amiibo don't really feel fear. That would be a very questionable design choice. Fox retreating off stage, and then he had to recover to the stage. He's able to do it unscathed, but he did have to trade his valuable position. Rosalina gets Luma back. Not good news for Fox, who needs everything he can get at this point. He actually traded with Luma, if you can see right there. And an up tilt, an up air, I mean, is going to take Rosalina's first stock of the match. Rosalina footstooling Fox out of his up air chain. Normally you can hit that move a couple of times on a character, depending on their weight. I've never seen anybody footstool the opponent to get out of it. Fox landing the back hit of up smash. It's not the strongest hit, but it did apply damage and save him from getting punished. Rosalina trying to use this down air to hit Fox through the platform. I don't believe the hitbox disappears at all. However, if you're not moving your person, it's a lot harder to move the hitbox into the range where Fox actually is. Fox has Rosalina by the side, and random up smash here will probably take this stock. Fox may be a very light character, but he does actually have a good amount of kill power behind him. The trade usually being that all of his moves are unsafe on shield. Looks like we've got a very possible comeback on our hands here. Both amiibo took turns taking 2 stocks off of each other, and now they're back at even. Something we haven't actually been seeing much for most of this April Anger tournament so far. Rosalina tech rolls on the top platform. A simple tech probably would have been enough. Fox is really high up. Rosalina's up air is a kill option. At the percent Fox is, it's not going to kill if he's not high up. However, it is something you need to consider. Rosalina barely avoiding that up smash. With the charge Fox had, hitting a strong hitbox probably would have ended the game. And a weird hitbox of down air is going to launch Fox sideways off towards the side of the screen and kill him. Looks like here we've got Lucario against Little Mac. Lucario is a character who very much excels at high percents, getting an aura boost in addition to the rage boost that every character normally gets. However, Little Mac is a very hard-hitting character, which means that Little Mac has very many opportunities to kill Lucario at, I don't know, say 80%, which is a percentage before Lucario really starts to get the most benefit out of his aura. Forward tilt at the edge, not going to kill Lucario yet. Using his wall cling to time his ledge grab better. Worked out for him, he made it out unpunished. Gets thrown back off stage though. Rapid jab at the ledge. The amiibo actually could have held that out for a little bit longer. When you're hitting someone with a rapid jab, or really any attack that you can hit multiple times with, in Smash Ultimate, if you hit the opponent after I actually don't know what the threshold begins at, but the more you hit the opponent, the game actually starts pushing you away from each other to stop infinites. Little Mac went for the aerial KO punch there. KO punch is very strong when used on the ground, and it loses a lot of its knockback when it's used in the air. It still can kill people, but something to know is that grounded KO punch can kill, I'm pretty sure, any character in the game starting at 30%, and lighter characters can be as low as 5 or 10 maybe. Usually not at 0, mind you. However, an aerial KO punch, depending on where you hit it, because of course you're going to be in the air, there's only so many places you can be. You could have... Lucario was lucky to have avoided that. Aerial KO punch probably won't start killing until maybe 60% or higher, depending on who you landed on and where. So that's why you usually want to use KO punch when you're grounded, because it can get a very easy or early kill. And the aerial version you only use if you really need to recover that extra 4 inches. Little Mac's been throwing out more aerials than you'll usually see a Little Mac player use. His aerials aren't useless, however they are difficult to use, and the reward for hitting them is lower than most other characters. So usually don't bother. Little Mac's able to make that back. Off stage, Little Mac has very few options in order to make it back to the stage. And the amiibo doesn't know the Little Mac recovery tech that gives him just a little bit more distance. Yep, without a side B, Little Mac, the amiibo is not going to be able to make it back from that. Another aerial from Little Mac. He didn't make contact, so he did get damage. However, when you compare it to Little Mac's other moves, the aerials are certainly lacking, so to say. And there's Little Mac with another aerial. Little Mac not getting caught by the side B. Lucario's side B is actually pretty strong, especially when he has some aura behind it. Without the aura, it's not nearly as strong. Little Mac with the down smash. Now if he can get a good, easy combo on Lucario, he might be still in this match. He just needs to land a KO punch. He does not have the KO punch anymore. Things just got drastically more difficult for Little Mac. So Lucario didn't actually spot dodge there. He did a back roll, but since he was at the ledge, he couldn't move anywhere. However, the stance his character model was taking was actually just enough to get him out of the range of Little Mac's grab. Little Mac with the down throw actually combos out of it, getting a 3-hit combo. Little Mac doesn't have too long of combos unless you get really, really good, but some of them require tech reads. Jab at the ledge. Little Mac doesn't have a jab that will kill. He has a frame 1 jab, and it can certainly add up on the damage. Little Mac has KO punch again. He uses it to go off stage. He's too low. Actually, he's able to make it back somehow. But he doesn't have KO punch. He does need to land probably a random smash attack. With the percentage he's at, the rage he has would probably kill Lucario. Lucario's weight is about middle of the herd, because if it was any more, then he could stack up way too much aura. You thought the character had swing potential now. Just imagine if he was even heavier. Lucario gets caught by an up smash from Little Mac. Here we have Captain Falcon against me, Swordfighter. Looks like we're going to be on Smashville. Captain Falcon leading off with an incredibly quick grab. He was helped by me, Swordfighter, actually running forward to meet him. Captain Falcon is a very fast character, so he has a very quick run speed. Before Sonic was in these games, he actually used to be the fastest run speed. Kind of fitting, because F-Zero is a game where you drive incredibly fast. Depending on the game, your usual top speed is somewhere from 400 to 900 miles per hour. Captain Falcon using 2 special moves to recover. I wouldn't particularly recommend that because it puts you in special fall and then landing lag. and that's usually something a good opponent can punish. Swordfighter does have a moveset that gives them 2 different recovery moves, the side B and the up B. You've definitely seen a couple of the up Bs so far. I don't know if you'll ever see the side special. It was a little bit more difficult than normal to teach any of the Miis actually, to use their special moves. I'm not entirely sure why. It's probably because since they have variable special moves, they need extra programming to account for that. Additionally, I didn't want to accidentally train a Mii with a certain move, and then later on find out that they needed a different move instead, but they would then keep the frequency of the first move, which would almost certainly be too much or too little. Already you've seen the amiibo use a couple of the down specials. It's a little rainbow swirl. Its main use is actually supposed to be to reflect projectiles. It does have a nice little damaging effect, and it does flip the player around, kind of like Mario's side special. Oh wow, that down tilt reach. Swordfighter did have the right recovery to actually just barely be able to grab the stage. The other recoveries, there's one that goes straight up and straight down, but it has a much more vertical reach, but a lot less horizontal. However, this one can be angled. Captain Falcon contemplates an edge guard, instead settles for a ledge trap. Great parry into a back throw. I don't think Captain Falcon has any kill throws. And for Smash Ultimate, they took out almost all of his weird momentum-canceling grab shenanigans. They were fun to use, but no other character had anything like that. And Swordfighter with an amazing tech there. A life-saving, even. And then get kills by a back air. Goes for an edge guard, goes for an up air instead of a down air. Questionable decision. Swordfighter starts with a run, but then slows down to a walk. It certainly worked out in that situation, but it's not the kind of movement you'd normally see from someone. On stage up special, what could go wrong? The answer is, of course, many things. Swordfighter off stage, able to recover. Captain Falcon landing so many of these grabs in a row. One of the things you can actually teach Amiibo is how frequently they should be shielding or dodging. In general, whenever I'm done training with them, I've never seen an Amiibo who unhealthily chooses one over the other. Captain Falcon has just enough momentum to make that recovery back. Goes for an edge guard. Doesn't get it. Skirmishing on the platform. Rapid jab is going to send Swordfighter away. Captain Falcon doesn't really capitalize on it. Swordfighter can make that back. We've seen it before in this very match. Swordfighter is off stage again. Deja vu to 5 seconds ago. Gets Captain Falcon off stage, tries to body block, but that's the thing with the Falcon dive. If Captain Falcon hits someone with it, he gets a boost off of it, and then he can use the move again. It's actually very unique in that respect, and it's been like that since the very first Smash Brothers. Captain Falcon not going for an edge guard. Usually you'd see him go for a whole bunch of down tilts. I mean, not down tilts, down airs. That's just what the Captain Falcons I've seen usually go for. Captain Falcon goes high. He's able to successfully make it back. This time, Swordfighter using a neutral air to edge guard. It would have worked if they hadn't thrown their body in the way. Captain Falcon going for a combo. Doesn't get a finisher on it, but he did rack up a lot of damage. This is now in the range of anybody's game. Both characters are at about kill percent based off of the other characters' killing windows. Down tilt at the ledge again is going to kill me, Swordfighter, sealing their fate for the tournament. Captain Falcon will move on. Our next match is going to be Sora against Yoshi. This match is probably going to take a lot of place in the air, even though we are on Battlefield, so there aren't going to be too many platforms to play with. These characters both have very large double jumps. Yoshi being in a especially interesting case, and by that I mean when the original Smash Bros. Was made, Yoshi was given an incredibly large double jump, kind of to emulate his large flutter jump, which originated from the NES. Sorry, my mistake. The SNES version of Yoshi's Island, where Yoshi did get a double jump, even if the flutter jump worked a little bit differently then. And in the original Smash Bros. Game, the only other character with the same kind of double jump would actually be Ness, who, coming from an RPG, didn't have an established double jump. So he was given a similar psychic floaty thing where you go down for a little bit and then you get a really high jump. It was one of the things that made a lot of the characters more different in the original Super Smash Bros. But you could argue that some of the properties of Ness's double jump were probably inspired by Yoshi's double jump, which was inspired by Yoshi's Island, a game that came out in the 90s. Just something I find interesting. Now, Yoshi's doing pretty well here. Yoshi is often regarded as... He's usually regarded as a character for people who do not have a lot of skill in the game. That doesn't mean that Yoshi can't do amazing things in the right hands. However, he has some very good aerial moves he can just use. His neutral air comes out really fast. His forward air hits hard, throws opponents outward, but it also has a spike hitbox you can use. Down air, I guess it is not the most special aerial in the world, however it does send people up, mostly so that you can no longer gimp people with it off stage. But it does mean if someone's trying to hassle you very high up on the screen, you can actually throw out a down air and then kill them off the top. And a lot of characters can't do that. And since Yoshi has a very high double jump that has armor on it, because that's how important his double jump is, he can often find himself when he is above the opponent. Sora only uses 2 versions of the side B extension, still gets punished for it. Yoshi grabbing the ledge, and then retreating to center stage. He does land in there, but he does need to find a kill at some point. Sora is at that percentage. It's about that time of the match. Back air is able to kill from basically at ground level. It's not one of the moves we talked about previously, however it is a perfectly fine move. And it has a lot of hits on it, comes out fast, and it can kill. There isn't much more you could reasonably ask for a move to do. Almost landing forward air there? Not quite. Going down low? That thunder usage. Resetting back to normal here. Looks like we're going to be playing on the ledge a little bit. Trading some hits mid-air. It's a lot easier to... Yoshi got a spike hitbox. It barely didn't kill. And Yoshi didn't have his double jump to make it back to the stage. He still has a life to spare, so his story isn't over. But that's always disappointing to have happen. Yoshi having a hard time landing all of a sudden. It's a forward tilt, does not get the up smash. Oh, but the up smash is what's gonna do it. Yoshi just backflipped his way into the second round. And here we have Sheik against Kazuya. Going to be a pretty interesting battle to see play out. The Sheik amiibo normally struggles because Sheik, as a character, usually struggles to get kills outside of certain setups. Which Sheik does have certain... Wow, Sheik is just getting the crap beaten out of her. Sheik does have setups to do combos and to do damage and to even get kills, but you can't teach that to the amiibo. And Sheik has already lost the first stock. Kazuya is a character who competitively does very well because he has, I'm going to be quite honest, just a couple of very broken moves. I shouldn't say broken. A couple of his moves are a little bit stronger than they should be. Kazuya comes from the Tekken series, which is a series where characters have many moves. So he actually has more characters than most in Smash Brothers, which is a nice, cool detail. It has, however, resulted in a lot of players figuring out what his best 5 or so moves are, and exclusively using those. Which is unfortunate. Ideally, a character would need to use all of their moves, and for most characters in Smash Ultimate, that actually is the case. A lot of characters do have whatever their worst move is, and they probably use that less than, you know, their best move. But in general, most characters need to use most of their moves. If there's a move they're not using, it's usually the exception to the rule. Since characters have about 30 moves depending on how you count it, it's usually not a bad deal for 1 out of 30 moves to be just not quite good enough to use. However, with Kazuya's immense choices and some of his very strong outliers, it's led to just certain moves being used and certain moves never being touched. At least by a player who knows what they're doing. So I mention this in terms of the match because Sheik is a character who requires a lot of setups to do damage and to kill, and you cannot teach that to Amiibo. Kazuya is a character who, he's basically a heavyweight. I believe his weight actually does put him in the heavyweight, and due to the way his moves work, and he has a smaller version of the tough guy armor, which Bowser, the heaviest character, has, Kazuya just has a lot of traits of a very heavy character. Which means that if he ever needs to find a kill, he can throw out random smash attacks until one of them hits. His forward smash especially. Or in this case, he can use the duck punch to combo into the... I don't remember all the words that describe all of Kazuya's different uppercut moves. I know that he has the Electric Wind God Fist, which you need to watch out for because it combos into basically anything. And if you hold the input, you then get a stronger but slower version that comes out. However, if the opponent is currently stuck to the floor because you stun them with a duck punch, then it doesn't matter if it's a little bit slower because it's still going to hit, and then it's strong enough to kill. That move, the one Kazuya just used right there to hit Sheik when she was on the platform. Up smash is actually spaced just right to hit someone who's on the Pokemon Stadium platforms while Sheik's under it. Sheik taking center stage still needs to watch out for most of Kazuya's arsenal here. Sheik is a character who has very good edge guarding. Probably not the best in the game, but definitely better than average. It's a little rough on Kazuya though, because his up special is an incredibly long distance one. So you need... Sheik's not going to be... Sheik does actually make that back. It surprised even me. Sheik goes for an edge guard, Kazuya just makes it back. Gets the Electric Wind Office and actually combos it into an up air because apparently that kills.
Kazuya Mishima wins.
Next up, Olimar against the Ice Climbers. A lot of teamwork we're going to have on display here. Looks like we're going to be on Pokemon Stadium. Olimar does get a Pikmin to stick to one of the Ice Climbers. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Since there's two of them, they actually have an easier time hitting the Pikmin off of Olimar than a single character would. Most single characters, I should say. A lot of characters have a move or two that is that are very good at removing Pikmin. Ice Climbers go down low, that actually helps him save the second Ice Climber. The forward airs are able to kill Olimar. So when you have both Ice Climbers, whoever the second Ice Climber is, since on the different skins it switches if it's Popo or Nana. In past games it used to always be that Popo was first and Nana was second. In Smash Ultimate, the second Ice Climber, on the forward air, the second Ice Climber has a spiking hitbox, which is incredibly dangerous to be hit with when you are above a ledge. Down smash separating the Ice Climbers. Second Ice Climber is able to make it back, and then get promptly killed. Ice Climbers are a stock ahead, so they shouldn't be panicking at this point. But this is where the auto heal really comes into play, because if the Ice Climbers have a hard time finishing off Olimar, he might actually end up with less percentage than they started this sequence with. Both characters making it back. Olimar not getting that tech, surprisingly. Olimar tech rolling right into that ice cube. If the opponent is not approaching you or threatening a hitbox on you when it's time for you to tech, normally it's safest to just go for a neutral tech, because it takes the least time to resolve. If the opponent is threatening damage, then you have to start changing up which kind of tech you go for. Ice Climbers are too short, their hammers are not going to be able to reach that top, well, part of the platform. Olimar throwing away his Pikmin to give him more distance on his recovery. It may seem cool, but that is a fact of the character. The more Pikmin you have, the lower distance you have on your recovery. Olimar's Pikmin doing a lot of work right then. He had some latch to the Ice Climbers. Actually, the extra hit stun from the electric Pikmin messed up the Ice Climbers, staggering them as the Pikmin hit both of them. For most other attacks without the electricity modifier, it usually hits both of the Ice Climbers at approximately the same time. Olimar is off stage. He throws his Pikmin onto the Ice Climbers. That means he gets to keep them when he comes back. Once again, being slightly too far away for his purple Pikmin forward smash to reach. And the Ice Climber's up there is gonna finish off Olimar. And for the last match of this episode, we're going to be having Wolf against Incineroar. These two characters are actually rather similar, aside from, of course, the allegorical cat versus dog matchup. Both characters are heavyweights, although Wolf doesn't actually have the heavyweight stat. Wolf is a little bit more of a character who is a heavyweight, except that he isn't as heavy. But he gets to be a little bit faster as a trade-off. But he certainly hits like a heavier character. Incineroar is a heavier character. He is slow. Incineroar probably has the best grab assortment in the game. Of course, that does mean that some of his grabs are, of course, better than others, so those are usually the ones you see. But none of his grabs are terrible. If he had any more speed, then his grabs would be a nightmare to deal with, because he could get them more often and combo out of them even more. They all do good damage, they can kill. Some of them you have to be a little bit closer to the blast zone. Down throw is, of course, the combo throw, so that doesn't kill, but it leads into more damage. And his side special is actually command grab, which does kill. Incineroar has already lost 2 stocks this game. That is not good for him. Incineroar does have a strong enough spike that he's able to ricochet Wolf off the floor and actually kill him off the top. Wolf is a rather fast character. A lot of his smash attacks are very difficult to punish if you're not shielding them. And they can be a little bit difficult to punish if you are shielding them as well. Incineroar able to make that back. his recovery does actually have a good distance on the vertical specifically. If you are any distance away from the ledge, the angle you get sent at means you will not be recovering. However, if you are right below the ledge, he does have a good distance he can cover. Forward smash, putting Wolf off stage. Something you always have to worry about is that Wolf's best recovery option is usually his side B, which is also a strong move to be hit with and to hit people with. They trade midair. It's easier to do that with aerials because they cannot clash with each other. They trade again, but it looks like Incineroar got the much worse version of that. Incineroar is able to get a kill with his back air, but he's now at 150, and he needs to make sure he avoids all of Wolf's kill moves, which at this percentage is quite a lot of them. Incineroar is doing good work putting a lot of damage on Wolf right now. In fact, Wolf's already at 100%. At this point, I'd say whoever hits the next high knockback move, which is apparently going to be Incineroar's forward air on the top platform. Incineroar wins. That's it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed. We've got a whole rest of the tournament, so I hope you enjoy that too. I will see you later.